En route to Kinghorn, a monument stands on King's Crag. This marks the spot where King Alexander III fell from his horse and was killed in 1286 whilst on his way to see his new bride. His death threw Scotland into turmoil. Pass through Kinghorn and arrive at Kirkcaldy, named the Langtoon due to its mile-long esplanade. Adam Smith, the great economist, was born here in 1723 and published the influential work The Wealth of Nations. 5 years later, the architect Robert Adam was also born here. During the American Wars of Independence, John Paul Jones, a Scotsman in charge of the American fleet, sailed his navy into position off the coast of the town and threatened to blast it to smithereens unless he was paid £200,000. With all seemingly lost, a local minister led his congregation down to the beach to pray for a storm to force the fleet away. Even the servant of God must have been astounded, for suddenly out of nowhere a powerful wind gusted in and the ships were forced to sail off. After the Jacobite rebellions, many Scotsmen fled abroad and joined the armies of various countries. Indeed, there were few European countries that did not have Scots in their armed forces. A good example is the Battle of Zorndorf during the 7 Years' War, where the commanders of the Russian, Swedish and Prussian armies were all Scotsmen. Even stranger was the truce about to take place outside a besieged Turkish city. As the Scottish general in charge of the advancing Prussian army approached his counterpart from the Turks, he found his turbaned rival to be an old friend from Kirkcaldy. The town is most famous for the manufacture of linoleum. In the 1840s, Michael Nairn built a huge factory at the top of a cliff near Ravenscraig Castle, which the locals called Nairn's Folly. The town obviously had a sinister reputation, for it was regularly linked with the devil. One legend says that Old Nick lies buried beneath Kirkcaldy sands for failing to do the bidding of the great Scottish wizard Michael Scott when he was challenged to make a rope of sand. On another occasion, in a Dysart cave, St Cerf had a terrible confrontation with Lucifer, while the esteemed George Buchanan described Dysart in a poem as being at the very mouth of hell. Ravenscraig Castle, now in ruins, was built by James II in 1460 as a defence against the English and pirates who constantly harried the Firth of Forth. It was one of the first Scottish castles to be designed specifically for defence by and from artillery. The steps from the castle to the beach below are said to be the inspiration for John Buchan's 39 Steps, as the Perth lad holidayed here with his sister.